What's up guys, DJ Mike James coming back at you again here at the 343 Studios. These are my new Rockville MINI RF3s and we're going to talk about that. What's up guys, DJ Mike James coming at you. As you guys know, last year, the year before, I bought the Rockville MINI RF1s and they served me well for quite a while. The MINI RF1s were a single diode 12 watt wireless DMX battery uplight. And like I said, I did use those for quite a while. I decided to go ahead and upgrade to the MINI RF3s. As you guys can see, I picked up 8 of them. Now, I only use these in my booth and my totems, as you guys know, because I now have 12 Rockville rock wedges, and those are my uplighting for the room. And then I use the RFs under my booth and inside of my totems. The reason I do that, one, is I like the RF mode as far as not having to be line of sight to use the remote. I can change all of those while they're in the scrims of my totems. That they don't have to see the the remote necessarily. These are a 3 by 12 watt, so they're a 36 watt par light. So when I was deciding to go between the RF3s or the RF4s, of course, I went with the RF3s because my rock wedges are a 3 diode style light, so I just kind of wanted to match up the, somewhat the look of how my uplights looked. Couple different caveats about the RF3s in particular. As you remember, the RF1s, when I try to pair them up to the rock wedges or best part 50s, best part 60s, any of those other lights, they will not pair up in that order. Now, these are a little bit different in the sense that these have 4 DMX groups in them, and I'm going to go over the remote control and the instructions with you guys as far as powering these up and then exactly what the modes do. The one thing I did like about the old RF1s is, I'm going to turn this around and show you, there used to be 2 buttons, so you'd have your power on and off button, and then you'd have a mode button to be able to switch functions on the light itself. So they have eliminated that. So this button on the RF3s and on this version only switches DMX groups, and it will only set master, slave, or RF. So it's simplified, I guess, in that aspect. However, that does present a couple of issues. One being, in the RF mode, you could wirelessly DMX your RF1s together, and then you could change the function on your master with the extra button. On these, you're not going to be able to do that. You have to have a remote control to be able to adjust any of the functions in these lights. That's one issue. But the thing I do like about these is you can access the different DMX groups in here and set different groups by color, and then still keep them in RF mode and be able to change each individual group or change all of the groups at the same time. Before we get into that, I'm going to get these turned on so you guys can get a look. I got them in green. It was just St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day to you guys out there. Now we're shooting this video. It is a little bit after St. Patrick's Day. I don't have brackets on all of these because these just sit on the floor under my booth. These sit on the floor in my totems. The 2 with brackets, I bolt to the top of my Rockville RTP 32Ws and have that light actually shine down. I am going to go through this with you. The other thing that I do like about this version is you do have a power meter here. And so it's telling me the DMX group is blue, and then it's red because I used these for St. Patrick's Day Eve. I had a bar gig and I used all 8 of them to uplight my booth at the bar. So again, I will get these charged. However, the battery life on these is really impressive. I used them for 2 gigs, then I took them home and killed them. It took me another 3 hours to kill these lights, even though they were in the red, which is supposedly 0 to 25% battery life on them. And you can see as they're changing colors from green to red, this one's changing a little bit, and it'll go from red, and they'll start blinking actually when they're actually about to die. When we get into the remote, the remote is way more sophisticated than the old Rockville RF1 remote. Again, limiting that you don't have any control over the light on the light itself. So if I set these in master and slave, I would only be able, you can't even use this remote you wouldn't be able to use this remote, because as soon as you set this in master slave and you're out of the RF mode, the remote doesn't work. So there are some issues with how you sync these up and how they line up or whatnot, but just kind of give you guys the RF functions on here, which we do have UV. We've got all the colors in here. The cool thing about this remote is as I pick a color, I can actually switch. So there's 4 colors in each mode. Go through green, we can go up like a greeny orange, a full white, and then to a teal, which switches right into blue. You can see there's 4 different functions in each one of these. And of course I have them in RF mode, going to white. I'm just gonna run through some of these real quick for you. You also have brightness control on this, which is pretty cool. We didn't have that on our other one, I don't believe. So I can dim these down. It does not, so I can dim any of these lights down, bring them back up. It looks like as you change the color wheel, you would have to do that individually. There are 4 different sound active modes in this that you can set, and then you can set the speed and the sensitivity of the sound active in this light, which I think is also pretty awesome as well as you can strobe in any color. And of course I've set this to like be full strobe, but it just resorts back to whatever it was. And we got our color fade. I'm gonna have to get my glasses on so I can see the remote for you guys.
I can't see! I can't see!
What's the matter?
I had my eyes closed.
Oh, this is our pulse mode. Of course you can speed this up as well. I believe you can still dim these lights. They dim down. Dimmer still works. You can speed up the pulse. Yeah, it's popping along a little bit. Got color fade. You always know when it resets because they all start at red. And then we got a color cycle, which the other thing I really do like about this is that they do stay synced up in RF. I don't have to worry about one getting ahead of the other one or anything like that. They all stay pretty much synced up. Like I said before, the only function that you have on this is to set master slave and to change DMX modes or DMX colors as far as your 2.4 gigahertz DMX. And there's 4, like I said, red, green, yellow, and blue. But the cool thing about that is, so let me go ahead and change each, every other one here and sort of show you. Now I'm gonna change that one to red. I'm gonna change this one to the red DMX group. I'll just do every other one. Change that one to red, change that one to red. Now the cool thing about this is it's gonna tell me the color of the RF group that I'm in. So if you see the little light there, so it said white. White means I can adjust all of the colors at one time. You see, even though I set the 2 different DMX groups, so I'm in the white mode, it'll change all the lights at the same time. So we know I set blue and red, right? So here's red. Let's go ahead and change red. We'll change our red lights to blue. So now those are blue. My other lights are still color snapping. Let's go to that was green, yellow. Let's go to our blue mode. Let's set those to green, which allows us to do different things with these lights. If I switch it back to white, which means all the lights are running now, they all cycle through. So that is a really cool option, like a function of this light. However, this is the only control you have over the light in the RF mode. The other thing that is a little bit of a caveat for me as far as the redesign on these. So the other caveat I have is the charge cable. If you guys have the RF ones now, the charging prongs were actually sideways in here, so you could actually use them in 2 separate outlets to charge these lights up. Now I'm assuming Rockville wants you to get the charge case, for 8 of these, which I didn't get the charge case. I just put them in a bag and I kept all the packaging and all that, so I keep them nice and safe in there. and I ended up having to buy a power strip that I can put I can charge 6 of them at a time, because when you plug this into your wall socket, it covers, and the way that this is rounded, it covers pretty much the entire plug. You may be able to get one on there the other way, so I bought a power strip with 2 sides, so I can do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm charging the other 2. So it's a little bit of an inconvenience, again, unless you get the charge case, you know, to charge these more than, say, 1 at a time on an outlet. But again, it's kind of a small little thing. There is a LED light on this one as well. It's not as pronounced as it was in the other one, and when you plug this in, it'll be red or whatever color that your light is actually in, and then it'll turn green when these charge, and they do take about 5 hours to charge. Another issue is in any of the color groups, the RF3s will not, even set in slave mode, will not pair up to my Rockville rock wedges. Now, the reason that that's important to me is if I could pair them up, wireless DMX, so set these as slaves, which is a triple, it's a triple punch on here to get that blinking 2 times, because that will put it in slave mode. If it blinks 1 time, it's in master, so it would literally master all of them. But as soon as you do that, the remote control doesn't work, and you have no access to any of the programming in the light with the button. So it's a non-issue. I just leave them in RF because that's how I do it. But the important thing about them not syncing up, if I set these in, say, blue, and my rock wedges were set in the blue 2.4 megahertz DMX color mode, I would want them to sync up to the rock wedge, because then I can still manipulate the rock wedge with the IR remote and change all those lights, whether they're wirelessly DMX'd or not, and set these in slave mode. They will not respond to the rock wedges. However, if I set this in master mode, in blue, red, green, yellow, whatever it is, set my rock wedges in that same color mode as, you know, DMX address A001 or what have you, this light will control the rock wedges, ironically. However, you don't have any control. So whatever that's set on, when you do that, that's what's going to run the rock wedges. Whether you have it on color snap, when you switch it over to be master, pulse, whatever it is, the rock wedges will respond in one of those 4 color modes. But you have 0 control over any of the lights, and whatever it's set at is what it's set at, because the remote control doesn't work anymore. But anyways, just a real quick product review on the new MINI RF3s. Like I said, I got a pretty good deal on these. They are definitely an upgrade light power wise, as far as the single 112 watt diode RF1s that I started with, to the now 3x12 36 watt Rockville RF3s. The other thing is, these are a little beefier. There's some heft to them. Their overall size is bigger. Their depth, their thickness is bigger as well. And with that being said, originally I had my RF1s in my charge case with my rock wedges, but when I upgraded to these lights, I had to come up with a different storage solution for them because of the size of them. However, they do still fit great in my Rockville RTP32Ws. They sit right on the floor on the cross rails. I bolt one up to the top, so I've got a nice full totem, glow totem. I mean, it looks amazing. And I'm really enjoying, like I said, I'm really enjoying these. I like that the RFs, I can set them separately. My booth and totems are moving, and the lights are in RF mode, are doing what I want them to do. My room is doing something completely different, and that appeals to me in the format of what these lights actually are. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Check out the MINI RF3s from Rockville. have the MINI RF4s also, which I believe are the same size because they do fit into the same charge case. So when you look at the 8 light charge case for the RF3s, they're also for the RF4s as well. So I'm assuming dimensionally they are the same. I also have to imagine that technology-wise, they're probably going to be the same as well. So leaving them in the RF mode works out best for me. Now, I'm not sure how that works with the DMX controller. However, I'm assuming if you set one as master slave or what have you, it doesn't work with the remote, but it may work off DMX signaling. So you'd still be able to set those groups up. And if you check out the Rockville site, they will tell you a little bit more about pairing these up to a DMX controller. I don't use them that way, but in watching that video, there was a real interesting point that you could set 10 up in blue, 10 up in red, like 4 in yellow and 2 in green or something. It was really odd to me as to the number, like the sequencing number of how many you could pair up in, you know, a single DMX color group. I don't understand why they wouldn't all just, if you can set 10 up in blue and 10 up in red, why you couldn't set 10 up in, you know, yellow and 10 up in green. I'm not sure, but as they explained it, that was my understanding of it. Get some clarification on that from Rockville as far as like sequencing, how many of them you can pair up into each DMX group. So in a follow-up, like I said, upgraded to the new MINI RF3s. Love them, love the brightness, love the RF control. Like I said, we'll get you a better look at the actual controller, so you can, you know, get a good look as to what they changed as far as how these operate. And like always, comment and subscribe. It's free to subscribe to the channel, guys. If you like the content that I'm putting out and you want to see more of it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.